Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 56a, top of the page. Nun Vav Amin Aleph, 56a, with the words Bershus Achas Chayev B'Shtei Rishuyos Batra. And in one domain, he carried half the dried fig into the same public domain each time he is liable, but if it was in two domains, in other words, he carried the item into two separate public domains, he is exempt. V'omar Rabba, and Rabba said, V'hu sheyesh chiyuv chatas beinehem. And Rabba says in explanation of Rabbi Yossi's opinion, and this division of the public domain applies only where there is a property where one would incur liability to bring a sin offering if one unintentionally carried out of it or into it. In other words, a private domain between the two sections. But avol karmelis lo. But if it was only a karmelis, meaning an area that is not defined as either a private domain or public domain, and to and from which the prohibition against carrying is only of rabbinic origin, it does not divide the public domain. Abaya Amar afilu karmelis, avol pisla lo. Rava Amar afilu pisla. Abaye says even the karmelis divides public domain into separate sections, but a beam, a pisela does not. Rava says even a beam divides the public domain, since it is no less than a boundary or a squill, which do serve as a barrier between fields. Ve'az da Rava letamei dam Rava rishus sheba kirishus gitin dami. The Gemara notes that Rava follows his own line of reasoning, as Rava says the definition of a domain for the purpose of Shabbat is like the definition of a domain for the purpose of the bill of divorce. Just as a beam defined as a distinct domain for the purpose of the bill of divorce, so too it is considered a distinct domain for the purpose of Shabbat. Ein sham lo me'etzam lo chatzav. My Perish Rabbi Marinus. Perish Rabbi Marinus. I remember having Rabbi Marinus, but not for a long time. Maybe Masechta Shabbat? Where did we encounter Rabbi Marinus? Does anybody remember? Let's find out and see. We had him in Masechet Batra. Yeah, I think so. Rav Marinus. Eifo Marinus. Yep. No, it was different. It was Shabtai Bar Marinus, but not exactly Rebbe Marinus. Rebbe Marinus. I think we have him in Bava Metzia, maybe. Yes, we had him in Bava Metzia. We had him in Bava Metzia 17a. Rav Marinus. Perish Amaris Mishmo, Kol Hanikris Al Shemo, Hechidami Amar Rav Papa de Karule Be Garguta de Pelgaya. The Gemara returns to discuss the acquisition of a field that belonged to a convert who died without heirs. The Gemara asks, if there was no boundary and there was no squill, what are the limits to the acquisition? Rabbi Marinus explains, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, any area that is called by his name. The Gemara asks, what are the circumstances where it's called by his name? Rav Papa said, what it is called? Place that is irrigated by so and so's well. The entire area referred to as such would be considered one section with regard to acquisition. Yasir Ravacha bar Avia Kamed Ravasi. Rav Acha bar Avia sat before Rabbi Asi V'yasev V'ka'amar mishmei Rav Asi bar Chanina, and he sat and was saying the following in the name of Rabbi Asi bar Chanina. A little bit redundant. It says Yasser Rav Acha bar Avi. Okay, and he sat. Why are you saying sat again? You're saying that Rav Acha sat in front of them and he sat. Why are they saying and he sat? I don't know. And was saying the following in the name of Rabbi Asi bar Chanina. A row of sea squills serves as a barrier with regard to the property of a convert who died without heirs, so that each section is considered a distinct field. My chatzuva. The Gemara asks, what is a sea squill? Rav Yehuda Rav Shebo Tichem Yehoshua Shebo Tichem Yehoshua LiYisrael Et Haaretz. Rav Yehuda says that Rav says it is the growth by which Joshua established the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael for the Jews. Rav Yehuda Rav Lo mana Yehoshua Ela Ayarot Ha'amdot Al Hagvulim. The Gemara teaches a related statement, and Rav Yehuda says that Rav says in his book Joshua enumerated only the towns that stand upon the borders, but not the towns that were within the portions of each tribe. Rav Yehuda Shmuel Kol She'erau HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeMoshe Chayav B'Maaseh. On the subject of the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael, Rav Yehuda says, Shmuel says, any area that the Holy One, blessed be He, showed to Moses before his death, as is written, and the Lord showed him all the land, Gilad, as far as Zoar. Deuteronomy 34, 1-3, is within the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael, and therefore produce that grows there is obligated in tithe. Lafoke keni. You are asked to exclude what? You are answered to exclude the lands of the Kenite, the Kenizite, the Cadmonite. Lafoke keni, Kenizi v'Kadmoni. Tanya, we learn as God had promised to Abraham at the covenant between the pieces, to your offspring having given this land, to the Kenite and the Kenizite and the Cadmonite. Genesis 15:18-19. These areas are not obligated in tithe. What are these areas? It is taught in a Batra. Rabbi Meir says they are naftocha, arva'a, and shalma'a. Rabbi Yehuda says they are Mount Seir, Ammon, and Moab. Rabbi Shimon says there are Ardisakis, Asya, and Aspamia. New Mishnah. With this, we're going to finish the Amud. Hayu Shnayim Me'idin Oso She'achla Shlosh Shanim V'nimtu Zomim V'mishal Lo Esakol Shnayim B'rishona Shnayim B'shniya V'shnayim B'shlishis V'shal Shin B'neihem Shlosh Achim V'acham Mitzrayif V'mohem Hare Elu Shlo Aduyos V'hein Edus Achas Lehazava. Okay. Okay, the Mishnah says, if there were two witnesses testifying on his behalf that he, the possessor of the land, worked and profited from a field for 3 years, and therefore he has presumptive ownership, and they were found to be conspiring witnesses, as it was proven that they were not present to witness the matter about which they had testified, they must pay the true owner of the field the full value of the field that they attempted through their testimony to remove from his possession as it is written in the Torah. Then shall you do to him as he had planned to do to his brother. Deuteronomy 19:19. If two witnesses testify that he worked and profited from the field during the first year, another two testify that he worked and profited from it during the second year, and another two testify that he worked and profited from it during the third year, and all were found to be conspiring witnesses. 56b. No. Yeah, we'll do the next thing, but just to continue the idea. The Mishnah. Mishal Shin Beinehem, payment to the value of the field to the owners divided among them. Shlosh Achim Becha Mitzarafim Mohem. If the testimony was given by three brothers, each of whom testify about one another, and another unrelated individual joined with each of the brothers as a second witnesses, these are three distinct testimonies, and they are accepted by the court. If they were to be considered one testimony, it would not be accepted, as brothers may not testify together, but they are one testimony for the purpose of rendering them as conspiring witnesses, and the payment is divided among them.